Hi guys, welcome to the 4th Oak National Academy Assembly, brought to you by Faith at Home. I'm Chris.
And I'm Jessica.
Today we're going to be talking about humility.
Humility.
Thanks. You know, I've never really understood how to define humility.
It is a tricky one to understand. Let's ask some of our friends from St Winifred's CE Primary School in Manchester and Akiva School in London to tell us what they think humility means.
Humility to me means selflessness, being humble. It means you always put others before yourself, and you're never cocky and you're never rude. You take on feedback when you need to, but you also show gratitude in both your wins and your losses.
Humility is not showing off.
People respecting other people.
Keeping low level when you achieve something.
Showing respect for others and not making them feel sad about what you have done.
Humility is when you're thinking about others, you're thinking about how others feel, you're being kind to everyone, you're sharing with everyone.
Humility to me is about not boasting when my team win a game of football. It is also about not showing off at the things that I am good at.
I showed humility when I was awarded with Gold Award, and I showed it by keeping quiet and not showing it in everyone's faces.
So when I was playing a game with my sister, I let her be the boss of me and do what she says.
I finish a high standard piece of work but don't boast about it.
I have shown humility letting the infants cross the playground without pushing in front of them.
I was doing a spelling test and I got 10 out of 10, but I didn't jump out of my seat shouting, I got 10 out of 10. No, because that would just be mean. So then instead I just sat in my seat and then smiled.
Those guys gave some amazing examples of what it means to have humility.
They did! I loved hearing their definitions of humility. But let me share with you my favourite definition of humility. Humility is not thinking less of yourself, but thinking of yourself less. That means humility isn't saying, I'm rubbish, even if I get 10 out of 10 on a spelling test. It's saying, I might have got 10 out of 10 on a spelling test, but my friend got 6 out of 10, and they might be really upset if I start showing off about it. So I'm going to put them first and be proud quietly to myself. And maybe tell my grandma about it later.
That is such a relatable example. I'm really starting to grasp what humility is all about.
Great, because now we've got someone really special, Chief Rabbi Mervis, to tell us about the Jewish festival of Shavuot and explain how it can teach us more about humility.
Wow, I'm really looking forward to this one.
When Moses stood at the burning bush, Almighty God appeared to him and instructed him to go back to Egypt, to become the leader of the Israelites and to deliver them from Egyptian slavery. Moses replied to God by saying, "Who am I?" As if to suggest, God, I think you've got the wrong person. But God replied and he said, "No, Moses, it is you indeed who must use your potential for the sake of the betterment of all of humankind." Moses listened to God, and he became one of the greatest leaders the world has ever known. He brought the Israelite nation out of Egypt, and they stood at Mount Sinai, where on the festival of Shavuot, they received the 10 Commandments. We all know how off-putting it is when people behave with arrogance, when they have huge egos, and when they are so boastful of their achievements. Moses was just the antithesis of this. He was filled with the outstanding human characteristic trait of humility. But the message that God gave to Moses and which he listened to was, we need to utilize all the ability and the talents that God has given us. to become the most successful people possible, so that we can enrich our environment with goodness and be a blessing for every person on earth. And then, when people compliment us and praise us for what we do, with humility we should say, well, actually it's not such a big deal, because it's all thanks to God, because He gave me the potential to do this. That is how we can combine outstanding humility with incredible success.
Wow, that was incredible. Thank you so much, Chief Rabbi Mervis.
I absolutely love having so many wise people join us for these assemblies. I feel like my brain is becoming this big now.
It's great to learn, isn't it? But it's not just great to learn stuff and keep it locked up in our brain. It's great to put it into practice.
How can we do that?
We could pray and ask God to help us.
Great idea, Jessica.
Humility isn't thinking less of yourself, it's thinking about yourself less.
For this activity, you'll need to make 4 pieces of paper, some pens, and some scissors. You'll need 2 or more people that you know, like us. Hand out pieces of paper and then draw around your hand, like this. Once you have done that, cut it out, like this.
Once you finish cutting it, it should look a little bit like this, and then write your name in the middle of it.
Humility isn't about putting yourself down or comparing yourselves to others. It's about thinking what other people want or need, rather than what you want.
I agree. Now, let's all swap hands.
On your hand, write things that are kind, nice and encouraging. You could write about their personality or character, or things they're good at.
In the book of Philippians, the Apostle Paul wrote,
Don't be selfish, don't try to impress others, be humble. Think no one is better than yourself. Don't look for your own interests, but
take an interest in others too.
Thank you so much for joining us today, guys. We hope you've enjoyed today's episode and we've helped you learn a little bit more about
Hugh.
Millie.
T.
See you next time.
Stay safe, guys.